grow up in China, including myself, always think, first thing, everyone has a gun in the United States and people always carry guns with them to go anywhere. The second thing, we will believe that a lot of innocent people are killed by massive shootings because there's no gun control at all in the US. The third is, it's dangerous to walk on the street at night, you may get robbed. So are these things true or false? No one knows this better than an American. I'm excited to have my American buddy Ryan to join us to do a fact check about this.
Hey, what's up, Michael? Thank you for the introduction.
Good to see you, Ryan, again. Good to see you again,
Hey,
Ryan.
what's up, Michael?
Welcome back to our show.
It's my pleasure to be here. It's a topic that's close to my heart, and I'm happy to discuss it with you and your fans today.
Hey man, I saw you posted a video of different types of guns laying on the ground. Wow, are those all yours?
Yes, Michael, I did post that video on WeChat a few weeks ago, and I'd say not all of the guns in that video are mine, but I would say about 90% are. And it was a fantastic day. It was very cold here, but I took a few of the guys from my church and we just went out and shot and had a fantastic time. It was a great blessing that day. But man, I have questions for you. Texas is like my dream. It's like a gun lover's dream. You can wear guns across your chest in the open. It's allowed, it's encouraged. People wear their flags, cowboy boots. It's crazy. And even shooting pigs, I've heard, actually. And so I wanted to ask you, man, does it really have that vibe? Is Texas full of cowboys with revolvers on their hips, with cowboy boots and big hats and spurs? Is it really that crazy there?
You are right. Cowboys with guns are everywhere in Texas. I think Texas is a special place for gun owner. There is a joke, I know this is appropriate or not, but there's a joke about Texas on WeChat and saying terrorists had never ever come to Texas because they knew almost everyone in Texas carries a gun anytime, anywhere. I was also told that in the old time, Texans never call 911. When there was an emergency, probably they just pull out a gun and start shooting. They even put this as a slogan and hang it over their fence. But for me, having grown up in China, I had never touched a gun before. This was not only a huge culture shock, it was also a bit overwhelming and kind of like scary.
Yeah, Michael, I understand. I can imagine that would be quite a culture shock. From a place like China that's very safe to a place like the United States that guns are everywhere. It's like the movies, you can buy them easy, and it's just a total different perspective shift. So I admire you, man. That's awesome that you were willing to go through it, and I don't know, I kind of admire your intellectual courage to be open to new perspectives. Not everyone is.
Oh, thank you.
And I've heard Alaska is actually kind of similar to what you're saying happens in Texas. The justice, neighborhood justice. Trespassers don't get the cops called on them; they get confronted with a gun. That kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a nod to old school family values, protection, ethics, character, not trespassing, not stealing. These kind of things. So if you're a good person with good morals, you shouldn't have a problem. But Mike, I'm curious personally, if you could tell me more about how you felt about gun owners, or maybe any prejudice you had towards guns or gun owners or gun laws in the United States, how you kind of felt about it before you came to the United States, before you saw what you've seen, and before you've met friends and whatnot.
Well, I grew up in China. There, only the security, police, and the army could legally own a gun. I had been taught that guns are bad, guns are dangerous, and don't play with them. People who own guns are bad guys, and possessing guns is illegal in China. China's state media always promoted a gun-free environment. Some people even, believe that China is the safest place because of the strict gun control policy. They always say, hey, look, you're safe to walk on the street at 2 a.m. at night, to have street barbecue without any safety concern. You've been to China, you know what street barbecue is, right? So I never touch a gun. Guns are treated as drugs. Gyms and cowboys' hats are okay, but guns definitely no. So many of our audience, including myself, are very interested in American gun culture. As an American, tell me about what you have been taught about guns.
Oh, Michael, I 100% agree with you. I've never felt more safe than when I was in China. In every city and at any time at night. It's so welcoming, so fun. It never goes to sleep. I've never even been bullied by anyone. You know, the police are respectful and kind. They'll help. They get pictures with me. It's always been fun, man. I wouldn't disagree with you that in America you cannot do that everywhere. You know, it's a very different situation. And so to answer your question, I think there's some general knowledge that most Americans have about guns, and as you know, some people are really strongly for guns and some people are really strongly against guns. But I think it's kind of like ethnic dialects or food in China. Each region can have, you know, maybe more farming or more city or more progressive new age views, some maybe older views. And, you know, I think for me, I was always raised to enjoy the outdoors, to enjoy fishing, hunting, hiking, driving cars off-road, camping, fires, all these things, as well as guns, firearms, hunting. All that was kind of part of it. So I was always raised by my uncles and father from a very young age to respect, to honor, to steward, to respect a firearm, but also to enjoy a firearm, to have fun with a firearm, to use it and appreciate the firearm. So that's a little bit of my perspective. In terms of Americans overall in our education, as you know from history, guns in American history are very closely linked with independence, with Britain, with Civil War, with being able to have the right to bear arms and defend yourself, your country, your property, your work, your money from the government or from anyone. So that's really important to us, just because of our history and background with that kind of stuff. So if anyone ever tells you, you know, hey, guns are stupid, they're bad, I've never benefited, I never have anything to do with them. Well, if you're an American, you're just contradicting yourself, because it's a huge part of our history and our foundation. It just kind of is. I personally would never ever think of doing anything harmful, aggressively harmful to anyone with a firearm. I was never taught to use it that way. That's perverted, that's wrong, that's crazy. But also to be prepared to use it in case there are crazy people, right? That's unfortunately a reality in the United States these days.
Yeah, that's true.
As you can see from this marketing picture here, it was showing very warm sentiments, you know, sharing a gun, an older father with his son, showing him that responsible use of a firearm is good and okay, and not to murder people, you know, but to be good. I mean, you can read about it. It's cute, you know, it's old, and how do you say it? To be quite honest, gun murders only really took place in the United States in a big scale in the past 20 years. There's always been guns in this country for over 100 years. There's always been easy access to guns. So why the murders? It's not guns. It's some craziness in American thinking. It's some lack of morals, of lack of sanity. I think it's a problem, and I think it needs to be addressed. But I don't think guns are the problem. You know, I think the education of, oh, I can kill people, that never existed before. That's madness. So I don't know, man. Well, it's not an easy question, for sure.